Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Lincoln Journal Stars 4 Downs. Luke Mullen and Amy Just coming at you from Memorial Stadium, where Nebraska football wrapped up its final open practice of today, of the spring for us media folks. 5 practices remaining. Of course, Red-White Spring Game, the final one of those on April 22nd. So getting the chance to observe a little bit of the drills, different work that they had going on today. A lot of special teams work, a lot of different tackling, defensive stuff. A big focus on technique is kind of what we saw.
Yeah, lots of coachable moments too, right? Because, when you're honing the fundamentals, you want to get those right, because then you can't build from there, right? You make bad habits. So coaching up even the littlest stuff, Evan Cooper, as always, just so animated, so helpful, even with the littlest stuff. And yeah, that was a big theme again today.
Yeah, definite energetic presence. There's a couple coaches. Ed Foley is in that group where their voice just kind of booms from across the field. You can hear it from a long way away, but that instruction, players take that to heart, taking, the coaching, going back on the next rep and working on it. So we saw a lot of that today. Again, focusing on tackling, things like one-on-one movements, zone coverage, that kind of stuff, working from the defense. But today, we heard a lot from the wide receivers, different, position that has a lot of overhaul, but a guy who's coming back, pretty unique circumstances, Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, heard a little bit about, because it was a really interesting, breakout game there against Northwestern, eventually enters the transfer portal, and coming back to the team this year. He was just kind of speaking about those couple weeks, a really interesting time for him, but he's back, he's motivated, and he's ready to take on a big role.
Yeah, and he said, he didn't really want to leave originally, right? But circumstances led to that. So, circumstances led to that, and he's happy to be back. He's happy to be working through things. He had some rust to work off, right? Because when you're away from the sport for so long, it's natural, but muscle memory ended up taking over.
Absolutely. And just the wide receiver room as a whole, Garrett McGuire, a guy who comes in, straight from a stint with the Panthers, a lot of experience, growing up, Coach Joey McGuire there at Texas Tech, his dad. So we've heard a lot about kind of the way that he's been born into this, football coaching role, but hearing a little bit about the way, he operates his room, was really interesting. He's talking about 2 of the veteran guys there, Billy Kemp, Josh Fleeks, saying he lets him, get up in his chair, run through the film, run through these meetings, which is really cool to kind of hear that kind of comprehensive, interactive approach he has for his room.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, because he said it was, what was the word that he used? It was, it's more meaningful when it comes from them, players leading players. Obviously, he needs to coach as well, but everybody's being accountable.
Absolutely. And, his experience, he's talking about the enjoyment he gets learning from offensive coordinator Marcus Satterfield, of course, head coach Matt Rhule. So a lot of different pieces in that wide receiver room, but when you extend it to the team as a whole, there's a lot of depth there, but some of the other positions, the numbers are a little bit low, and that brings us to kind of the spring game conundrum. We saw that last year, the offense-defense scoring. Well, Matt Rhule today, he was talking about how he hopes it's going to be, a full-on game, again, that comes down to the numbers a little bit, and interestingly, the quarterbacks he's mentioned a couple times, they've been live in some of these different practices, and he hopes that might be the case for a spring game too.
Yeah, and again, it's just going to come down to health. He said that he doesn't want to, push himself into a box, but he wants those guys live if it's possible. He wants it to be an actual game if it's possible. He's done the offense-defense thing a couple of times. He doesn't want to do that, but if the numbers suggest that they need to do that, they will.
Absolutely. So, still a week and a half away from that. So they'll hope to, get through these final 4 practices before that with no injuries. And again, that will kind of dictate, we'll look forward to, the format. We'll get an announcement on that eventually. But as things stand, again, looking forward to perhaps, doing that regular scrimmage, the one that we've gotten used to. But I think that's all we got today for today's 4 Downs. Again, we will be back here on Thursday and again next week. So stay tuned to journalstar.com for all the updates. Thanks for watching.